1. Introduction. In the world of celebrity lawsuits, few cases span over a decade, weave through multiple states, involve allegations of fraud, and question the paternity of one of the most influential figures in music. Such is the case of Rymir Satterthwaite, a Philadelphia man who has claimed for years that Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, is his biological father. What began as a personal search for identity has spiraled into a complex legal saga involving courts in New Jersey, California, and even a brief attempt to engage the U.S. Supreme Court. While many initially dismissed the case as frivolous or financially motivated, the persistence of Rymir and his family has kept the story alive. Now, with recent legal filings, allegations of judicial misconduct, and a surprise case withdrawal in July 2025, the saga continues to captivate public attention. This article unpacks the 14-year journey, separating fact from speculation and exploring what may be next for all parties involved. 2. The origin of the allegation. According to Rymir Satterthwaite and his late mother Wanda, her brief relationship with Jay-Z began in the early 1980s. Wanda was reportedly just 16 years old at the time, and their encounter allegedly occurred at Jay-Z's aunt's apartment in Brooklyn, New York, after he had picked her up from Philadelphia. Wanda believed they had used protection, but she later became pregnant. Wanda maintained throughout her life that Jay-Z was the only other man she had been intimate with around the time of Rymir's conception, aside from Robert Graves, who was initially listed as the father on the birth certificate. However, a DNA test conducted in 2011 ruled Graves out as Rymir's biological father, prompting his name to be removed from the birth certificate. Wanda reportedly told Rymir the truth about his paternity when he was just 7 or 8 years old, and continued reminding him of it well into his adulthood. Her consistent story has formed the backbone of Rymir's legal efforts. 3. The early legal attempts. Wanda attempted to file a civil lawsuit against Jay-Z for child support during Rymir's youth, but the case was dismissed due to being filed in the wrong state. She never refiled. According to Jay-Z's legal team, he was never considered an interested party with regard to Rymir's custody, and the matter lay dormant for years. In the early 2010s, Rymir, now a young adult, revived the case. With support from his godmother, Lily Coley, he launched multiple lawsuits attempting to compel Jay-Z to submit to a paternity test. All were ultimately dismissed or rejected for procedural reasons. 4th shift, from paternity to civil claims. Over time, the legal strategy began to shift. After facing repeated failures to get Jay-Z to take a DNA test, Rymir and his legal advocates began framing the case around fraud, obstruction of justice, and procedural misconduct, particularly focused on earlier rulings and allegedly improper court behavior in New Jersey. Rymir's most recent lawsuit, filed in California in May 2025, does not ask the court to determine paternity. Instead, it seeks civil damages stemming from alleged fraud upon the court, emotional distress, reputational harm, and loss of financial support. 5. The role of Wanda and her affidavit. A critical piece of Rymir's case is a sworn affidavit from his mother, Wanda, which details her alleged encounter with Jay-Z and her belief that he is Rymir's father. According to Lily Coley, the affidavit has been publicly available for years and has never been refuted with direct evidence. Rymir also shared that Beyoncé's mother, Tina Knowles, even acknowledged Jay-Z's ownership of New Jersey property, a key point given that Jay-Z's legal team argued for years he had no legal presence in the state. One reason they claimed he was exempt from submitting to DNA testing there. 6. Jay-Z's legal responses. Jay-Z and his legal team have maintained a consistent stance. The claims are false, frivolous, and have already been dealt with in multiple courts. In fact, in 2022, a New Jersey court issued an injunction barring Rymir and Lily Coley from filing any more lawsuits related to this matter without express permission. In the latest filing, Jay-Z's lawyers argued that this new California case is merely an attempt to circumvent that injunction. They point out that a previous court already established paternity for another individual, and Rymir's mother waited too long to change her claims legally. Jay-Z's team also requested that the new California lawsuit be dismissed immediately and that Rymir be ordered to pay attorney fees. 7. The 2022 injunction issued in New Jersey effectively shut the door on further litigation in that state. Jay-Z's lawyers claim Rymir's new California case violates that injunction by bringing the same paternity-adjacent claims to a different jurisdiction under the guise of civil damages. Rymir, however, contends that he was never properly served the injunction and insists that the New Jersey rulings were tainted by fraud and judicial misconduct. He claims this gave him grounds to refile in federal court in California, where he believes due process is still available. 8. The California lawsuit filed on May 6, 2025. The California lawsuit brought new attention to the case. After service was completed on May 19th, Jay-Z's team requested an extension to respond, which the judge granted, setting a deadline of July 18, 2025, did file a formal response by that deadline, reiterating his stance and claiming that the lawsuit is a repackaged version of earlier, already dismissed cases. He maintains he has never acknowledged Rymir as his son and argues that any claims stemming from that allegation are legally and factually baseless. 9. Rymir's position and motivation. Throughout his public statements, Rymir has maintained that this case is not about money. He has said repeatedly that he seeks justice, truth, and accountability, particularly for how the legal system has handled his family's claims. In the most recent lawsuit, he is not seeking back child support. Instead, he is asking for general and compensatory damages tied to the emotional distress and personal fallout he says he has endured due to being denied his legal rights. 10. Jay-Z's DNA and the transparency question. Rymir and his legal team claim that Jay-Z has had access to Rymir's DNA since 2011, yet has never disclosed the results of any comparison. This has led many supporters of Rymir to question why Jay-Z would not simply take a paternity test and put the issue to rest. Jay-Z's legal team, however, maintains that he has no legal obligation to take such a test, particularly given that other courts have previously determined he is not the father. They argue that the ongoing lawsuits amount to legal harassment. 11th, public and media reaction. The public response has been mixed. Some view Rymir as a persistent truth seeker, courageously challenging a powerful figure. Others view the ongoing litigation as an opportunistic attempt to gain financial compensation or notoriety. The media has largely remained neutral, reporting the facts as they emerge. However, moments like the withdrawal of the case in July 2025 have sparked renewed speculation and interest in how far this legal drama may go. 12th. Recent developments, the withdrawal. On July 22, 2025, just days after Jay-Z's legal response, Rymir filed a motion to withdraw the case in California. This move caught many by surprise, particularly because the legal filing cited unforeseen changes made to the case on July 18th, changes that Rymir's team says they were not aware of. Rymir later posted a brief statement on X, formerly Twitter. "Hello, changes were made to my case on July 18th, 2025, about 3:30 p.m. This was done due to changes made to my case we were not aware of. We will explain soon, but it's all about my mother now." The nature of these changes remains unclear, but Rymir's comment suggests that new information about Wanda or her legacy may soon emerge, potentially reframing the entire situation. 13. What it all might mean. The case of Rymir Satterthwaite versus Jay-Z touches on complex issues beyond celebrity gossip. The rights of alleged children, access to justice, judicial fairness, and how the wealthy can navigate or shield themselves from legal scrutiny. Regardless of whether Jay-Z is biologically related to Rymir, the core issue for many remains one of transparency. If Jay-Z truly has no connection, a single paternity test could end the saga. Yet, as the case has evolved into claims of fraud and emotional damage, the story seems far from over. 14th conclusion. For now, the case has been withdrawn, but the final chapter is likely still being written. Whether Rymir chooses to file a new claim or publicly reveal further evidence, or whether the legal system will allow any future litigation at all, remains to be seen. What is certain is that this is no longer simply a question of biology. It's a fight over truth, legacy, and the limits of the American legal system.